It turns out when you take away people's, the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud.
Stopping their fraud. Elon Musk, nothing gets by him. You start taking money away from crooks that have been fleecing us for years and years, and they're not happy about it. And now, Jimi Hendrix. Bow, 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 bow. One of the stories I thought was fun. We actually did it last night on The Right Squad on the Newsmax television channel at 10 p.m. Eastern. Gen Z, we have these, we identified gens. It's a way of cleaving the American people into separate groups so that they can be pitted against one another by the left, who will steal your organs given half a chance. Gen Z signing up for Adulting 101. That is the word adult as a verb, Adulting 101. It's a basic course because we're not raising people the way that we used to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. Gen Z signing up for Adulting 101 classes because they can't handle basic life skills. A lot of stuff involves money. That's the headline at the New York Post. The story is all over the place today. And again, we did it last night on my Newsmax television show. They can code TikToks in their sleep, but they can't cook rice without a YouTube video. Gen Z is flocking to Adulting 101 crash courses, desperate to learn what previous generations might call common sense. Remember, common sense isn't. They've deprived our culture of common sense because the left is here, and they have a lot of severe mental illnesses. For example, Generation Z, Gen Z, never learned how to do laundry. A whole generation, this is according to these, they have studies. They're academic studies. Never learned how to do laundry. Don't know how to put clothes in and turn the machine on, put detergent in there. Don't know how to do that. Never learned. How to do laundry. Budgeting for rent. Budgeting for rent. How much money am I going to need for rent? I don't know. Okay, that's good. Or navigating a grocery store without Googling things like, what is a turnip? A turnip. Well, Joe Biden is a turnip. See, if you Google what is a turnip, it might come up with a picture of Joe Biden dragging a 6-ounce metal lawn chair across a sandy beach. Amazing stuff. So, don't know how to change a tire. Don't know how to change a tire on a car. That's true of an awful lot of people. It really is. AAA, the American Automobile Association, probably busier than ever before, because we don't teach a lot of things that we used to teach considered to be perfectly normal. Also, you don't get a lot of flat tires because of the patriarchy and steel-belted radials, and really great tires because of America and the patriarchy. You're welcome. Said, here's a quote, I don't know how to change a tire. I don't have a car at all. I don't know how to sew. I don't know how to do a lot of things other than cooking, admitted Alden Garcia, a freshman at Canada's Toronto Metropolitan University. The CBC's Current reported. That's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I think it's so important that children are taught financial literacy. A lot of stuff involves money, he said. He picked up on that. He's in college. A lot of stuff involves money. Yeah, like college, for example. He's not alone. Canadian colleges like the University of Waterloo are stepping in to teach the basics with online toolkits like Adulting 101, which covers everything from healthy relationships to how to not set your kitchen on fire. That sounds like good advice, I think. There are a lot of things that are missed in education about, when you actually become an adult, echoed Bella Hudson, a third-year TMU student. She told the radio program, I do wish that they had classes that taught how to manage yourself and manage your life. See, that used to come from your family. You would have parents. Your father would be a man. Your mother would be a woman. You could tell the difference. And it's important to have a male adult to influence you as you grow up and a female adult to influence you as you grow up. That's where you learn how to be normal. Remember normal. Man, oh man. What's cooking besides ramen noodles is a cultural reckoning. I like ramen noodles as much as the next guy. You know, I actually, when I was in college, certainly everybody had a lot of ramen noodles, I think, at a certain time in life. That's great stuff. According to Jean Twenge, a psychology professor at San Diego State University and author of Generations, today's 20-somethings are hitting adulthood with empty toolboxes. Kids are growing up less independent. They're less likely to learn how to do adult things as high school students. Then they get to university, and they still don't know, Twenge said. Isn't that amazing? We send them off into adulthood without other skills. If they're not learning how to make decisions on their own and solve problems, that can be challenging. I think that's true. Twenge blames helicopter parenting and extended adolescence. You know, I think the average 40-year-old is still living in their mom's basement. Is that the average? Because that's kind of, and he blames helicopter parenting, extended adolescence made worse by rising numbers of young adults living with mom and dad. You're just more likely to be financially dependent on your parents for longer. In the United States of America, students are seeing the same gaps. New York City high schools are failing their students. Not academically. Don't be silly. Of course, we're failing them academically, too. But practically, Zach Leitner, a New York City 10th grader, wrote to the New York Post last month. Until the 1960s, New York City high schoolers learned to cook, clean, and sew as part of their standard curriculum. In 2025, they'd be lucky if they knew how to do their laundry. This is really is a terrible thing, and we are letting people down all over the place. And I've believed for a long, long time, even when I was in high school or getting out of high school, that you should teach young people practical things like, you know, what's a bank account? How do you manage a bank? People don't have balanced checkbooks anymore because you don't have a. Most people don't even use a checkbook anymore. Everything's done electronically, and that's what should be taught. We should teach financial literacy. We should teach how the economy works, macroeconomics, and teach you how to function in the world. I don't know if you don't know how to do laundry. You know what you do? You learn. Say, hey, what is this? It's a washing machine. How does that work? Figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, you should be deported. And you should be on the no-fly list. But the Democrats want you as a voter. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, but it turns out we're raising generations of people in the United States and in Canada, too, which is like the United States because they are our hat, America's hat. But the generations who are raising Gen Z and beyond have not learned to do the most basic of things.
I am told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying.
That's Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Democrats have banned garbage disposals in New York City because they like rats too much or something like that. But that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's a hero of the Democrat Party, of the media, of her generation. She's as dumb as a stump. Also, she grew up in the suburbs, way outside of New York, in beautiful tree-lined suburban neighborhoods. And she's a fraud and a fake, and she pretends that she didn't know what a garbage disposal is when she came to Washington, got a very exclusive apartment where they don't allow riffraff into the building. And she made a video of herself saying, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid. And then she lives down by the baseball stadium and a very, very expensive apartment building. And And then she learned there's a community garden in her neighborhood. A lot of community gardens in Washington, D.C., believe it or not. There's one in my neighborhood, too. And I go to the grocery store. And she discovered the community garden. I think somebody else had planted a plot with her name on it and was growing lettuce and things.
I am shook. Look, like, honestly, gardening, food, that comes out of dirt. Like, it's magic.
She thought that food came from Whole Foods and, take-home food at restaurant prices. And she's a member of Congress. I hope that we're not doomed, but there are some indications that there's a lot of doom going on. That's for sure. These people. But now we learn that it's a generational issue, and we're raising generations of people that don't know how to open a bank account, how to make sure that you have enough money to pay your rent and pay your bills at the end of the month, which you learn, and sometimes you learn the hard way, I've got to say. I once spent too much money because I got a credit card, and that was a big mistake. And then I said, I got to pay this off, and I paid it off and never made that mistake again. Not yet, anyway. Isn't that amazing? Our Democrat Party. They're truly something. So today is Elon Musk's last day as the head of Doge because he came on board the Trump administration as a special government employee, and that means that you're limited to 130 days. Today we've apparently reached 130 days. Elon Musk is going to move on after saving the U.S. taxpayers $175 billion, which we act like is no big deal. No big deal at all. It's only $175 billion. It's more than $1,000 per taxpayer. And the media just shrugs. And what are they saying? I got to revisit what they said on MSNBC this morning. Because Elon Musk has saved $175 billion, the American taxpayers, $1,086.96 per taxpayer. That's not so bad. And President Trump is going to hold a press conference this afternoon with Elon Musk, as Elon Musk should be congratulated for what he's been trying to do, with the Democrats opposing him every step of the way, because the Democrat Party is the party of waste. They're the party of fraud, and they're the party of abuse. And it's not just the sexual abuse of children with Democrats, although that's a big part of their abuse. But President Trump, on his own social media platform, Truth, he put out a statement. This will be his last day, speaking of Elon Musk, but not really, because he will always be with us, helping us all the way. Elon is terrific. See you tomorrow at the White House. He said he put this out last night, and he's planning on meeting with Elon Musk and holding a press conference at the White House today. But on MSDNC, they're saying that Elon Musk has killed more people in the last few months than were killed at Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined.
There is pain in the wake of what Elon did. He talked about bringing the wood chipper to USAID. 300,000 deaths. According to a Boston University professor, because of the aid cuts so far, 200,000 of them children.
200,000 of them children. See, he sounded like he was okay with that. See, then, 300,000, 200,000 were children. We're good with that. The Democrat Party, that's our news media. Aren't they great? They lie about everything all the time. That's MSDNC, MS-13 this morning on your cable dial. Don't worry about watching. Nobody else does either. You know that this country was built on hard work and grit and smarts. Whether you are standing long hours every day, running errands, chasing the kids, just doing your part to keep the world turning on its axis, you shouldn't have to deal with fatigue and discomfort. And that is where G-Defy shoes come in. G-Defy shoes, built with patented VersaShock technology. The Federal Trade Commission has authorized G-Defy to tell you and me and all of us that these shoes really do help to relieve minor occasional pain associated with walking and running and prolonged periods of standing. G-Defy shoes help to absorb harmful shock. They align your body, improve your biomechanics, and return energy with every step that you take. My best girl and I, we've got G-Defy shoes. We got 2 pairs each now. They make your arches feel great. You go hiking, your feet feel better after you go for a walk. Get 30% off your order of $120 or more right now by texting Chris to 91888. That's me. Or you can go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet to gdefy.com. Use the code Chris, C-H-R-I-S. So you can text Chris to 91888 or go online. Chris is the secret password because we hang out together. And with G-Defy's 60-day risk-free trial, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Message and data rates apply. Yes, sir. Yeah, that Elon Musk, man, he's like the German war machine. Hundreds of thousands dead in a matter of months. Hamas has nothing on him. Radical Islam is like the Red Cross compared to Elon Musk. That's what you get from NBC News.
300,000 deaths.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Yeah, the left is on a jag against Elon Musk today. They're saying he uses drugs every day. Elon Musk does. Yeah, whatever he's doing, it seems to work. He doesn't fly his own airliner. Don't worry about him. He's got a pilot for that. He's doing all right. Whatever drugs he's doing, maybe every Democrat should start doing them. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Hugh calling from Germantown, Maryland. Hugh, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. I just want to make a comment about the piece you did on the clueless state of many young people going off to college. My son is a United States Marine. His college experience was blown up by COVID. So I think as a young man who dropped out of college and then went to Marines, he knows how to do his laundry. He knows how to cook, clean, and look after himself. But we live in a society that ascribes to graduates by sort of default leadership positions, and we see this with the Ivy Leagues. And I must admit, I went to an Ivy League law school, University of Pennsylvania, and my concern is that we have this elevated position of college graduates, yet we're seeing just how basically bloody clueless many of them are in the basics of life. And I want to point out that one of the benefits of the Trump election is this massive boost in recruiting into the military.
Yeah.
And I hope that from that we'll do some societal readjustment.
I hope that you're right about that. I like your optimism very much. Yeah, maybe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should take an Adulting 101 course. Maybe we should enlist her in the Marine Corps. Send her off somewhere she can build a pier into Gaza so the Democrats can funnel more ammunition to the enemies of civilization. The left is here. They are not liberals. Yeah, I do love the new talking point that Doge, and this is at some Boston University hack who couldn't add 12 and 12, and he's come up with a matrix of some kind that allows him, I guess, in his own mind, to declare that Elon Musk and Doge are responsible for 300,000 deaths, including 200,000 children, because this is what they're peddling. And, it's the demonization of everyone that's not them. In the meantime, they're, using meat tenderizers to club to death hundreds of thousands of little helpless babies every year. our Democrat Party, our media. But what's the difference? I repeat myself. Wah, wah, wah. Let's go to soundbite. Ba-ba. I want to get to DeSantis last, I think. Let's go to the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Number 16 is the soundbite. And he was on the Fox News Channel, Brett Baier, last night, and talking about Doge. Hey, tomorrow is Elon Musk's last day at Doge, so he's being attacked from all directions today. And on MSDNC and these wankers in academia, Boston College and beyond, or Boston University, whichever one it was, because of Elon Musk, 300,000 people have died. There has been a slight trimming of U.S. government spending. 200,000 children, which is the part they like best. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, last night.
Doge is not going to end with Elon. It is a way of thinking about cutting costs, and it's also a way of thinking about making the government more productive and more efficient.
Well, the Democrats don't want that. The Democrats are proudly the party of waste, the party of fraud, and the party of abuse. And it's not just child genital abuse, child sexual abuse. They want to abuse government money, your money. They want to fleece you out of everything they can fleece you out of and then do with it as they will, as the left, as the Soviet Union has taken over the Democratic Party in the United States of America. The Democratic Party isn't democratic at all, but they're here to fleece and to rob, it's waste, fraud, and abuse. They're the party of waste, fraud. They're pro-waste, fraud, and abuse. Vote Democrat. Bumper sticker. I'm doing bumper stickers now. Vote Democrat. Vote waste, fraud, and abuse. Vote illegal alien gangs. Vote shooting more people. You see, I heard it on the news on WMAL this morning that in Washington, D.C., 17 people have been murdered in the last 17 days. You know why? Democrats. Democrats is the answer. Every one of them murdered by a Democrat, because this is today's Democrat Party. Scott Bessent is the Secretary of the Department of Treasury, and talking about, hey, listen, Doge will go in, and this is great. Employees that were stood up under Doge will remain at the Treasury Department, and they really hate that. Oh no, they're going to look at the big board. They're going to see the big board. They could see my Social Security number. And Elon Musk was asked about this. Oh yeah, I'm in there stealing people's Social Security money. Now I can finally buy nice things, Elon Musk said, which is funny, and the Democrats hate to be mocked because they're not very bright people. All right, let's go to number 17, Scott Bessent, again, talking about Doge. Doge is not coming to an end. A lot of the employees at the Treasury Department, they're employees at the Treasury Department. Oh, they can't look at the computer. They have read-only access. I don't care. And they're dressing like ladies and throwing themselves off of rooftops. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, there's a funny story out of the Gaza. Another funny story out of Gaza. But first, here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent last night.
I would expect that these would be the initial savings, and they will continue from here. At Treasury, we have incorporated several members of the Doge team. They have become the fully trained, fully compliant Treasury employees, and they are going to be working continuously to ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse within the government system.
Waste, fraud, and abuse. Would that be WFA, right? Waste, fraud, and abuse. So we have to abbreviate everything because it's waste, fraud, and abuse. It's three things. They love the rule of three also, waste, fraud, and abuse. Governor Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis was at the baseball field. He was a member of the House of Representatives. He was at the baseball field the day that the Bernie Sanders campaign volunteer, James Hodgkinson, showed up with the rifle and shot Congressman Steve Scalise and then was gunned down by the police as he tried to kill a whole baseball field of Republican members of Congress. And Ron DeSantis had left the baseball field shortly before the shooting started, but he actually had an exchange with James Hodgkinson, the Democrat campaign volunteer.
Doge and Elon were on a collision course with the swamp. And the question is, what would happen? And I don't think there's any question that Doge fought the swamp, and so far the swamp has won.
And so far the swamp has won. Huh. Well, the swamp is a mighty beast. It's a powerful beast, and it is the Democrat Party. That's the thing about them. They love waste, fraud, and abuse, and corruption, and illegal aliens, and gang members, and Hamas, and they're not big fans of the United States of America or sanity or math. Amazing. So $175 billion saved, but truthfully, Elon Musk came in saying he wanted to save $1 trillion. This is not quite 1/5 of $1 trillion, but it is $1,086.96 into your pocket, in theory at least. If you're a taxpayer in the United States and you're listening to my radio program, I'm going to bet that you are a taxpayer. So is the swamp winning? That's the question. The swamp is fighting. And now the lunatics are claiming that Elon Musk has killed 300,000 people, including 200,000 children, which will lead to more fire bombings and more gunplay, maybe more suicide attacks. I prefer the self-immolations by the Democrats, but that's me. I'm kind of a traditionalist.
Boston University professor, mathematician, figured out what is the effect of this. They have a tracker. 300,000 deaths. According to a Boston University professor, because of the aid cuts so far, 200,000 of them children.
$1 Million anchorwoman Mika Brzezinski observed, 300,000 dead. That's pretty bad. The Democrats. They lie about everything. Remember, they were lying to us about what great shape Joe Biden was in while he was president of the United States. Let's go back to Kamala. Kamala, where is Kamala anyway? And where is her husband, Slugger? His Secret Service codename is Slugger because he hit that woman in France so hard that she went spinning on her heels, spinning off like a top. Hit her so hard. Codename Slugger. Let's go to Kamala Harris. This was February of 2023. And Kamala, everybody knew that Joe Biden's brain, she's a no good. And Kamala was asked, hey, because they lie about everything. 300,000 dead, and Doge is bad, and they're doing a good job, and somebody died of oxygen deprivation in Burma, but they don't know who, and you got Democrat members of Congress saying that in public and congressional hearings. Yeah, well, give me the name of the lady. Then they'll yell at you and throw things at you because they're savages. Hamas is not nearly as dangerous as the Democratic Party when it comes to the big picture, the world. Kamala Harris, February of 2023, about how bright and smart Joe Biden is.
We have a very bold and vibrant president in
Bold
Joe
and
Biden.
Vibrant. Bold and vibrant. Those are B.S. Washington words, political words. He's bold? No, he's in a coma. He's in an iron lung at night. He can't drag a 6-ounce lawn chair across a sandy beach in Delaware near one of his multi-million-dollar homes that he bought with his $170,000 government salary his whole life, but never mind that. Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Also, this is in June of 2023. Well, is Joe Biden up to the task of being president?
I wish you could be in a room with him the way I often am, seeing how he is simultaneously focused on a big picture vision and very focused on details.
He's lying. He's a psychopathic liar. And so is Kamala. And then they ran her for president. Boy, when your standards go out the window, they go out the window, don't they? These people. Alejandro Mayorkas, remember him? He was just absurdly the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and not on our side at all, not even close to being on our side. Ridiculous. And in 2024, just last year, the presidential campaign was on. And, hey, Alejandro Mayorkas, you're a great liar. You're very comfortable lying about everything. Is Joe Biden really sharp? Is he up to the task of being president?
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is
somebody's got to
intensely probing and detail-oriented and focused.
And focused. He's intensely sharp. He's so sharp. And they all lie. Now, these people are going to be, well, they're asking some of them to come up to Congress now. Just start punching out the subpoenas and send the FBI by their homes in full camouflage with helmets and rifles and helicopters and floodlights and boats behind their houses if they have water behind their house, and drag them into Congress and put them under oath in handcuffs and leg shackles, like they did to Peter Navarro while he was discussing matters that, what did Peter Navarro do? He was going to exercise executive privilege when the Congress Democrats called him up because he was working for the president, which is perfectly normal and has been in Washington forever and ever. And instead, they ambushed him at an airport and put him in leg shackles because they're communists. They're not liberals. But the Republicans in Congress now are looking at calling up Dr. Kevin O'Connor, a disgrace to the Irish people, who is Joe Biden's doctor, the White House physician. And he's like, oh, yeah, Joe Biden's real good. And then he bite his knuckle and turn around with his squinting his eyes. Amazing stuff. The deputy White House chief of staff, Annie Tomasini, she's got to come up to Congress because the Republicans want to know, hey, who was lying? They got that Neera Tanden woman. Neera Tanden. She's the one that filled us in on the Russian playbook, right, on the Soviet. No, what did she do? She's not the Russian playbook. She's another Obama person, senior advisor to Biden. Call her up. They're all involved in the cover-up and the big lie and the Joseph Goebbels big lie that Joe Biden was up to doing everything great. Ashley Williams, former deputy assistant to the president, Joe Biden. And these people are all engaged in this, involved in this cover-up. Anthony Bernal. And this guy is apparently the big bad guy. He was chief of staff to First Lady Jill Biden and was very much involved in shutting anybody down if they even raised a question about Joe Biden wandering off at the G7 summit in Italy or bumping into furniture, having no idea where he was. And it was Jill Biden. So was Jill Biden really running the White House through her little, meat cleaver boy, Anthony Bernal, who's, a wanker. I think his title was Wanker, White House Wanker. But amazing stuff. Got to call him up before Congress, put him under oath. Well, they're perfectly comfortable lying under oath about all kinds of things, of course. Just amazing. And then there was the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. Remember him? He's not on the side of anything good. He's like a foreign invader, not on our side. Merrick Garland, the Democrats wanted to put him on the Supreme Court, on the U.S. Supreme Court, where he could have done immeasurable damage for potentially decades. I think the communist-mentored Barack Hussein Obama wanted to put Merrick Garland on the Supreme Court. And then he's Joe Biden's Attorney General. Hey, is Joe Biden real smart or dumb as a stump? This was in a congressional hearing. Congressman Ben Klein, a Republican, asking Merrick Garland about the Hur report, which explained that Joe Biden was a well-meaning but clueless dimwit who juries would feel sorry for and they would pity him.
You won't say you've ever seen any impairment on his part?
The president has no impairment. The president...
You've never seen any?
I don't know how many ways I can say this.
Okay.
I have complete confidence in the president, and I reject your characterization.
They lie about it, and he's even bitter about it. He should self-immolate also. These people, they're very comfortable liars. Extraordinary stuff. Since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade in the Hobbs decision, overall abortions actually increased about 1% last year. Increased, didn't decrease, increased about 1% last year. Democrats are celebrating. That translates to about 1,038,000 unborn babies being snuffed out last year. Every one of these lives precious, of course, human lives, helpless, defenseless. Preborn's network of clinics across the country are strategically located in the highest abortion areas, ready to help support young women making decisions about their babies' futures and their own futures. Through compassionate, loving care and free ultrasounds, Preborn helps women to connect with the life growing inside of them. Once a mother hears and sees the heartbeat, sees little baby winking and waving at him, her baby's chance of living a long and happy life, productive life, doubles. Last year alone, Preborn rescued more than 67,000 babies in the United States of America. Please consider getting involved. Your monthly support of $28 a month makes this mission possible. Life, human life, is, of course, sacred. Life is eternal. To donate, all you have to do is dial pound 250, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, the keyword is baby, or you can go to Al Gore's amazing internet to preborn.com/plant. That's PLANTE, preborn.com/plant. Yes, sir. Yeah, they lie and they lie and they lie. And now Elon Musk has killed 300,000 people, 200,000 children. Make the lie so big that even Joseph Goebbels would believe it.
If I steal some Social Security, I can finally buy nice things.
Yeah.
Now, again, the Democrat Party doing a hit job on Elon Musk. He is responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of people, and he's on drugs. What's he doing? Ketamine? Ketamine, is that what it is? Do you put that in food or something? Kind of sounds like, I don't know what that is. But I've got the Supreme Court. The news media is going crazy. Supreme Court lets Trump end humanitarian parole for 500,000 people, exposing them to deportation. That's because they're here illegally, and that's why they're exposed to deportation. But the Supreme Court, and it's a 7-2 ruling. You'll never guess who the two are. Supreme Court allows Trump to begin removing 500,000 immigrants. That's the headline from ABC Fake News. They left out illegal. That's like arresting drivers. No, arresting drunk drivers. See, the difference is the word there. Yeah, I've got this 7-2 ruling that's coming right up. President Trump can start deporting illegals. That is good.